Breaking news, at least 5 people were shot and multiple injured in an attack that took place at a busy subway station this morning in Brooklyn, New York. The shooting happened at the 36th Street station at the height of rush hour. Authorities are looking for a suspect who was seen with a gas mask and an orange construction vest. Right now, there is a massive police response on the scene as they search for the shooter. It's a situation developing rapidly with new information pouring in. We're getting an update right now, we believe, from officials on the scene. Let's take you there. First Deputy Mayor Lorraine Grillo.
Thank you, John. So from the very minute this incident occurred, the mayor and I have been on the phone monitoring the situation constantly. We have worked with all of our agencies, the FDNY, NYPD, OEM, all of the agencies who have worked really hard together, and we continue to throw all of the city's resources at this situation. We've made all of the resources available, and we'll work with the Office of Emergency Management for any additional needs. I'm going to ask the Police Commissioner, Keyshawn Sewell, to speak to you and give you an update on the events of today. Thank you.
Good afternoon. We're here to update New Yorkers about an active shooting incident that took place this morning inside the 36th Street subway station on the N line. I want to begin by assuring the public that there are currently no known explosive devices on our subway trains, and this is not being investigated as an act of terrorism at this time. We can also report that although this was a violent incident, reportedly we have no one with life-threatening injuries as a result of this case. This investigation is only hours old, so please note this information is subject to change. Just before 8:24 this morning, as a Manhattan-bound N train waited to enter the 36th Street station, an individual on that train donned what appeared to be a gas mask. He then took a canister out of his bag and opened it. The train at that time began to fill with smoke. He then opened fire, striking multiple people on the subway and in the platform. Again, we will describe him as an individual. He is being reported as a male black, approximately 5 feet 5 inches tall with a heavy build. He was wearing a green construction type vest and a hooded sweatshirt. The color is gray. At this time, we are working with our federal partners, where we are asking for the public's help. Anyone with information, videos, or photographs, no matter how insignificant they think it may be, is encouraged to call Crime Stoppers at 800-577-TIPS. All calls are strictly confidential. I'd like to turn it over to the FDNY to give information about the victims. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. The governor would like to speak now. Governor Hope, my apologies.
That's right. Good afternoon. This morning, ordinary New Yorkers woke up in anticipation of a relatively normal day. They left their homes en route to school, en route to their jobs, and to a normal day, as I mentioned. That sense of tranquility and normalness was disrupted, brutally disrupted, by an individual so cold-hearted and depraved of heart that they had no caring about the individuals that they assaulted as they simply went about their daily lives. This individual is still on the loose. This person is dangerous. They're asking individuals to be very vigilant and alert. And you'll get more reports on specificity as the day goes on. So this is an active shooter situation right now in the city of New York. I just got off the phone with the mayor. He's recovering well. He is monitoring. He's actively engaged in this situation. I wanted to let him know that the people of the entire state of New York stand with the people of this city, this community, and we say no more. No more mass shootings. No more disrupting lives. No more creating heartbreak for people just trying to live their lives as normal New Yorkers. It has to end, and it ends now. And we are sick and tired of reading headlines about crime, whether they're mass shootings or the loss of a teenage girl or a 13-year-old. It has to stop. I am committing the full resources of our state to fight this surge of crime, this insanity that is seizing our city, because we want to get back to normal. It has been a long, hard 2 years. That's what we crave. A sense of stability, and normalcy. And this is what the mayor and I are going to continue to work toward. And I thank the partners.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys just heard that, that was the mayor of New York talking about the mass shooting that happened there in New York. No more. No more was her cry, was her message to New York State. No more. Let's talk about solutions. Let's talk about solutions. I think that we do a lot to be responsive, but not proactive. You know, I think that we do a lot to be responsive, but just not proactive. I'm gonna be dropping a link so that way we can have this conversation. We're gonna slow walk this thing. I think that we do a lot to be reactive. Like we know we see things, but we don't say anything about it. We know what the problem is, but we don't do anything about it. And it's not until it hit home. It's not until we're on a subway. It's not until somebody walks into a school. It's not until something happens to you where it's road rage or it's something that now affects your life. No more. And this is just not for politicians. This is not for, famous people. This is just not for, this is for everyday average citizens. How many people see things and they be like, man, this is too much. This no more of this, no more of that. And a lot of you guys kind of sit back and a lot of you guys kind of say, I feel the same way. And I'm listening to this mayor. And I asked myself, I wonder, how many policies have been put in place? How many, are there enough people set up to respond, to react? You talk about no more. Well, I wanted to talk about us in reference to our personal lives or whatever. What are some things that we know that we had to stop because we knew that if we continue to head down that direction, it was going to be a bad situation? Was it partying all the time? Was it using drugs? Was it sex? Was it alcohol? What was it that we had to say we need to stop? Was it being careless? Was it being reckless? Was it being wild? Was it being crazy? No more. Some people say, well, that's just a level of maturity. That's just a level of growing up. You have to grow. It's just a phase. Here's the thing. Simset says, what policy do you support or not? Well, here's what's interesting, because when we talk about policies and government, right, and standards and protocol, of course, each state governs themselves, So the suggestion here is someone get on a train armed. Where's the security? What policies are in place to say, okay, well, how do you get on stage, any stage, public stage, personal stage, in a space where you have gas and you have a weapon where you now can unleash the gas, put on a gas mask, and then start shooting? That's crazy. No more. But I think that it's bigger than that. I think that we do a great job at ignoring the problem. We do a great job at saying, well, we'll allow these things to continue. Come on, man, right? We'll allow these things to continue. Good morning. Good morning. We'll allow these things to continue. The mass shooting that happened in New York, of course, it's unfortunate. It's tragic. My heart goes out and condolences goes out to those people. But to me, that signifies just not only does it signify, the issues that we have, whether it's with our families, with our mentality, it just signifies that there are some people that don't realize how precious life and time is. What are we doing with our life? What are we doing with our time? Can you imagine waking up, doing your normal routine, going to work, and you say, well, I should have kissed my kids goodbye. I should have kissed my husband or my wife goodbye. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. Australia in the building. Salute. I'll do it later. Forget it. I'll hug my dog, right? I'll do it later. The neighborhood show. What's going on, man? I'm gonna end up dropping a link here in a minute, but just rock out with me for a minute. Yeah, I like to fish. Who likes to fish? Figured I'd try something different. But with the whole mass shooting in New York or whatever, to me, it just to me signifies how precious time is. It signifies, are we living the best life we can live, or are we living it under the worst conditions? Are we valuing time? That's what's really important. I appreciate y'all hitting that like button. I see that. Are we valuing time? Do we value time? Do we care? I think we are all just a bunch of people who are reactive. We're reactive to circumstances. We're reactive to chaos. We're so reactive to the point where we're numb. A numb reaction. Oh, somebody died over there. Oh, okay. No, somebody just lost their job. Oh, okay. Somebody just got a divorce. Oh, okay. You know what, Gary Brown, you're exactly right. Gary Brown says, well, we take the small things for granted. There are some who thrive through chaos and mayhem. Good point. Good point. We are in a situation right now that I feel that there are things happening, in our personal lives, on social media, with our family, with friends, with our naysayers, with everybody, that I feel like, we need to be cautious in how we move and the things that we say and the things that we do. Today could be your last day. Imagine that. Imagine that. Imagine the people that walk around and say that my life is full of turmoil, full of grudges, full of nonsense. Imagine not being happy. Not being happy. Riding dirty. Imagine walking through life, with this chip on your shoulder, this grudge. Now, we don't know what this guy's mental state was that did all this mass shooting in New York. But here's the thing, man. You think he woke up with a positive attitude? You think he listened to something positive that day? You think he had a good meal? You think he hugged his children? You think he had somebody in his corner to say, hey, good morning? I noticed that when people snap like that, normally the surroundings, the personal life, the job, where the living conditions, the things that they put into their body, what they watch, I know normally it's a bunch of negative stuff. Normally it's a bunch of negative stuff. So here's the thing. Imagine someone telling you, be mindful of what you listen to, what you watch, what you eat, your intake. No more. No more taking life for granted. No more acting as if what we're doing on a daily basis, we can do forever. You send your children to work. You send your children to school. You send your spouse to work, in a sense, and they don't come home. They're involved in this mass shooting. And you decided to have a whole fallout session with them this morning, right? You decided to argue with them. You decided to nag them. You decided to disrespect them. You decided to call them out their name. You decided to take them for granted. No more. That's what the mayor said. No more. Imagine caring about people. Imagine giving a damn. Imagine saying, am I my brother's keeper? Wow. Every time I say wow now, I think of Chris Rock. Imagine that. We've become so numb to caring, so numb to giving a damn. It is crazy. This lady fell out in the mall the other day. And it was so interesting that there were people literally just walking by. Now, she was getting some help. She was getting some attention, but no one asked, hey, you know, you need me to get some water, towel, you need me to do anything. Like, people were walking around literally on their phone, glanced over, seen her on the ground, you know what I'm saying? As we're trying to help her, you know, get her situated. And literally it was like, okay. It was something regular. They were numb. They were numb. Imagine a mass shooting happening on a train, a bus, an airplane, or whatever case may be, and then you just go back to that train and you go back to that bus and you go back to that airplane as if nothing happened. We numb. We're numb to chaos. We're numb to drama. We're numb to foolishness. We're numb. We're numb. And for a lot of us, to be honest with you, we don't care. We don't give a damn who got hurt in the process. Somebody said earlier, it's entertainment. We don't care who got hurt in the process. Who gives a damn? Who cares? Until it's them who gets hurt. Until it's them as the subject of the nonsense. It's them as the subject of the drama. See, here's the thing. Normally, right, there's a code of conduct, right? Everybody has this code of where they say, well, you know, I'll give you up until this point before I react. I give you up until this point before I respond. I give you up until this point until I care. And this is a normal code of conduct, right? Normal human nature response. Well, what has happened is that we've had so many things thrown at us, and I feel sorry for this upcoming generation, because they've been exposed to a lot of stuff that a lot of us didn't get exposed to until we were a whole lot older. Hell, there's people who's getting exposed to things right now that they weren't exposed to when they were little. But a lot of these young people right now are so exposed to things like to death, to killing, to abuse, to alcoholism, to drug addiction, to the point where they see it on a massive level. We are so numb. I was talking to a young man earlier about this situation in regards to the shooting, this mass shooting. And I said, well, how do you feel about it? And the guy said, well, me, L. Nixon, good morning. It's not me. He was so numb. He was so unmoved and unbothered by the fact that, you know, there was a mass shooting and there was a situation. And my question to you guys are, you know, why are we so numb when it comes to tragedy? Somebody might say that's a coping mechanism. You know, maybe they really care, but they have to ignore it in order to worry about their personal life, in order to the next day. They can't focus. Some people say they don't watch the news for that very reason. I don't watch the news for that very reason. I don't worry about the news because it's too much craziness. It's too much nonsense. They won't watch the news, but then they'll go watch Love and Hip Hop. They'll watch Atlanta Housewives. So the news bad, Atlanta Housewives and Love and Hip Hop good. You know, Behind the Bar, what's up, man? Behind the Bar says probably because nobody died. That's why they don't care. Well, here's the thing. Imagine you not dying but getting shot in the face. You not dying but getting shot in the chest. That's pretty much gonna change your day. That pretty much should change. Because here's the thing: when you get on the subway, you know, are you looking at everybody? Are you looking at the person that's having a bad day? Hell, are you doing anything to tell that person, oh, you good? You straight? You okay? Hey, how you doing? Or do you keep your head down and mind your business and you don't say anything? Imagine standing next to a person who pours out, you know what I'm saying, you know, some gas, pulls out a container and it promotes this gas or whatever case be. They throwing on their gas mask, you know, and then pull out a gun. We have a sense of awareness that to me is kind of like, you know, it's selective. You know what I'm saying? It's selective to an extent, like a sense of awareness that's selective to the point where I see it, but I ain't gonna say shit. I see it, but I ain't gonna say shit. I'm about to drop this link in a minute. I'm really curious about why are we so numb when we see things? Why do we turn the other cheek when we see things? Like we always talk about, we want our communities to be better, you know, and I would think that means on and offline. But why are we so numb at this particular point? Why is it so terrible to say this is how we feel, this is what we think, this is what we see, this is what we want corrected, this is what we want to change? No more, is what the mayor said in New York. No more. No more mass shootings. Not no more crime. No more pedophilia. No more abuse. No more mass shootings. Well, what are some things that you guys feel that you want no more of? Some things that you see that you want no more of. I'm about to drop the link. You guys come up. Feel free to hit the link and let me know how y'all feel about this or whatever. I know y'all digging this fish tank. I know y'all probably saying no more. No more. But feel free to hit the link, pull up. Let's have this conversation. Let's talk about, you know, some things that we see that we want no more of, because we say that we want betterment. We say that we want, you know, our communities to be better. How are we helping them? How are we helping the community? You know, and I'm not just talking about one particular race or nationality or gender. I'm talking about overall, us as citizens, as adults. What are we doing to actually help to promote the task of no more? We're tired of this. We're tired of being sick and tired. So we're doing this. What's going on, Uppity? I know the fish tank is amazing, right? But what I'm talking about is I was listening to the news conference with the mayor addressing the nation in regards, or at least the city, in regards to the mass shooting that happened in Brooklyn in the subway. And she kind of harped on the message, no more. There should be no more mass shootings. We're tired of it. You know, no excuses will be taking moving forward. And it's like, I get that energy and I like it, but it's for some reason, it's a lot of people who don't say no more. It's a lot of people who, like, when do you reach your breaking point where you say, hey, no more? You know, no more of this toxicity, no more of this negativity, no more of this nonsense. Like, when do you reach a point where it's just like, you know what, this is not for me? Neighborhood Show.
How's it going, man?
Get you up in here. Neighborhood Show, what's going on, man? Hold on just a second. Hold on just a second. Okay. I don't know what's doing that. Okay, you look like you're good now. What's going on, brother?
Hey, you can hear me, bro?
I can hear you now. What's going on with you?
Oh man, just chiming in and you know, listening to the positive message. It's a lot of distractions going on out there, man. And
Definitely.
I think that's one of the biggest problems is the distractions and you know, trying to stick to the plan, because I was on panels yesterday, and you know, I'm giving some good game, and I think it was one of the somebody came up on the panel and just basically a distractor. So we got detractors and distractors. You know what I'm saying? So I think that we definitely still need to, you know, get with our people and try to, you know, spread the message. But it's a tough one. You know what I mean? When you got so much pushback, and that's part of the whole, you know, speech you were talking about, people becoming numb, and I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's make it a little bit more personal. Salute to everybody in the chat. Uppity, I hear you. Feel free to hit the link if you want to. I think this is a conversation that's well needed, and I wouldn't say overdue, but let's make this personal. What are some things in your real life, Rascal? What are some things in your real life that you've had to say no more of, that you got tired of? You kind of say, hey, I know my worth. and I feel like, yo, this, I need to do better or need to do more? You know, who's some people you had to get rid of, or did you have to check yourself? So what are some things that you had to say no more to that really affected your personal life?
I think that it's innately in us to, the majority of us to kind of have a compass on us, and some of us choose to use it or not. So it was basically, you know, it's just surrounding yourself with positive people, right, and getting that negative out of your life. And I think that a lot of these guys out here are outnumbered, you know, and it's so easy to just sit back and take the easy route versus the hard route. But I don't think that enough of us appreciate the reward at the end, you know. And I think that's the big part of what made changes for me is I want the reward at the end, and I'm constantly pushing. You know, I consider myself as successful in my own right where I am, and I'm looking for more success. But it had to start from taking accountability and taking a personal inventory. So I feel like we all have that, but you know, even when we're young and we're going to school, you know, I remember having feelings of being in school, not really doing that well at times, but really feeling guilty about it because you know your parents are working hard to put a roof over your head. So, you know, it's those little things. So I guess, you know, that's some of us may be missing that though, you know?
I hear
And
you.
I think that's
I hear you.
part of the issue.
Rodney, what's up, man?
What's going on? How y'all doing?
Good, good. What you think about what we're talking about in reference to no more? Some things that we've grown numb to and overlooked. Like, what do you think about the topic thus far?
Well, when you say no more, the first thing you have to look at is yourself. And a lot of us don't want to look at our own self.
Mm.
This is why we don't promote the positivity, because when you point at the positivity, now you have to look at yourself and say, "Oh, I don't even do that." You see what I'm saying? This is why we don't look at positivity. We like the drama. We like to sip the tea. We like the chaos. Well, the only thing left behind chaos is destruction. And that's this is what we do. We make everything chaotic. Nobody wants to sit down and have a conversation. Everybody wants to have the chaotic reaction. That's all we look for. We don't look for the good. Because once we start looking for the good, then we have to look at ourselves. We too emotional for that. Some of us. Because if you're gonna look at yourself, you have to remove the emotions in you.
I hear you. I hear you. So do you think and I like the point you said we have to look at ourselves, and I think there are some things that we have to say, you know, I can no longer do these things in order for me to prosper. Like for me, like I'm gonna be honest with you, like I'll lack patience with certain things. Like once I try to do something, uh I'll lack patience, and I learned over time that I have to be more patient with certain things. Like I have to be more patient with developing certain things. So what are some things that you felt that over time you've said, you know, I have to start doing better at this, like no more of that, and I have to start doing better at this?
Communicate. See, when we communicate to each other, we cuss each other out, we hoop and holler. Nobody sits down and talk. I deal with a lot of developers, people who develop land, contractors like that. When we're developing something, we don't scream and shout and do all this. We sit down and have a conversation to where we have a clear understanding. We scream at each other. This is why we don't have a clear understanding. Nobody wants to sit down and have a conversation, because if you sit down and have the conversation, once again, you have to look at yourself. We don't want to look at ourselves. We don't want to say, I am the blame. I take part of that. It's called accountability. We can talk about it, but do we really be about it?
That's a good point. Neighborhood, what you think about what he just said?
I'm actually, you know, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to sound negative, but I'm having mixed feelings about just the community at a whole, because it's kind of like, you know, there's people in our community who could benefit from some of the information that we do have. And I feel like that's what I was talking about earlier. We have people distracting because they don't like, I'm sorry, but it's kind of like weeding the fruit out of the basket. You know, you don't want the spoiled fruit to taint the fruit that has potential at the same time. So I feel like, you know, creating a space where those people we can have those people that want to do something gravitate towards it would probably be our best angle of attack, right? Is kind of dipping in there a little bit and talking to the people, but setting aside, you know, the information for the people who really want it. Because to be honest with you, on YouTube, I'm seeing a lot of distractions, you know.
Truth be told, we don't even control our own image. Better yet, control our own message. See, that's the first thing we have to take back. Is the control of our image. Look at our image today compared to the image of yesterday. We don't have control of our own image.
Fact.
Someone else controls our own
Right.
image. Somebody else controls our identity. And then we hoop and holler about being identified. How are you going to identify yourself if you don't control your own image?
So what do you think is being controlled when it comes to image? You say someone else controls our image.
Everything. All the way we dress, the way we talk, the way we communicate. We don't control that. That is controlled by the media, by what we see on television. You have to realize some of us grew up in a black and white TV. Some of us grew up with a remote control in our hand, and some of us grew up with a phone in our hand. You got what you see where I'm coming from? What controls our image? We've always, before the black and white TV, we controlled our own image. Before the remote control, we controlled our own image. Now that these kids have tablets, iPhones, we don't control our image anymore. Whatever they see, they read. Right? So,
Well, here's the thing. You know what I've come to find is that we put a lot of onus on the media. We take some of the responsibility from the parents. We take some of the responsibility from the actual community or setting that they grow up in, and we put it on the tablet and we put it on the media. And I think that it's to me, it's about, when you talked about communication, to me it is about communication. It's about instilling in your children um, a certain level of common sense, instilling in your children the feeling of self-worth. Because here's the thing, a lot of people do things to promote something that they're not. I mean, okay, I want to be like the rapper. I want to be like this person. I want to be like the person on TV. When to me, the conversation should be you being yourself, you discovering yourself. And I think that conversation does not happen with a lot or in a lot of homes because one, children have children, so they don't develop until later. It's almost like the mom and the father develop along with the child, so they both become adults at the same time if they become adults. And I think that's an issue that we have, that we talk about media, but we forget the conversation inside the home. Riding Dirty, what's going on?
I'm at the park with my daughter, so I don't know if I'll be
You
able
there,
to say
Riding Dirty?
much. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. What's going on, brother?
I said I'm at the park with my daughter, but I am listening. But I just went ahead and logged into the panel just in case something come up. But hey, man, this is a great discussion, man, and I appreciate and I like the flow, man. Hey, so to all the fellas that's coming in so far, hey, that's what's up. So I'm just gonna fall back and listen, man.
Okay, cool. All right.
I'm gonna chime in a bit. I kind of want to come from a whole nother. I'm gonna throw something at you that's gonna come out of left field.
Okay, I'm
And
ready. Let's go.
Okay, I come from a fashion and then ended up into finance background. That's just a little bit of history of what I've been doing for the last 10 years, you know what I mean? So I found my way to finance and I started educating myself about money and how money works. And I noticed one thing, I'm trying to make a connection here. The majority of people who are working in Wall Street and the financial sector are men, right? So that's I would argue to say that's a real male dominated industry. Okay, now you have a lot of families, black homes, that are being broken, split up. The woman ends up getting on the county. The man, he has to pay child support, yada yada. You know the story. The black homes being separated. With that man being the most dominant and paying attention to finance, now all of a sudden these homes, these women are raising sons and raising daughters, and that financial structure is not in the house anymore. So could that be a big problem as far as why we can't catch up to the other, communities out there who actually have that financial structure in the home? I think that's starting to look like to me is a big hurdle to get over, because without that piece being fixed, we are literally raising, um, for lack of a better word, zombies, bro, in that area.
Well, let's look at it on another flip. I deal with kids. I work with kids. All right. If you can have a 14-year-old can sing you a whole rap song, all right? He's 14 years old, can sing you a whole rap song, but cannot read a Dr. Seuss book. He cannot pronounce all uh the sound notations of the alphabet. And he's 14, but he can rap every lyric. We got kids wanting to be rappers. We got kids wanting to be Instagram models, but yet they can't read nor write, but they can sing a whole song. Is what do we expose our children to? Not all children. Not all children. You ask a
But but
7
but to my but to my point, do you see how big of a dent that would do to a community if you had like the majority of the fathers, when you have a male dominated area that's not being tended to within the home? You know what I mean? That's kind of an interesting point there, though.
well understood. You took obedience away from the man. See, the obedience, the authority of the male figure, that was taken back in 90, 98, 99, somewhere around there. See, that was cut away then. The male figure, whether he's the father figure, whether he's the teacher, or whether he was the coach, that authority was snatched away from him around 90, 90, 91, somewhere around there. And this is what you have today. You see what I'm saying? So we don't want to look back. See, when you take accountability for yourself, you have to look back and say, where did I go wrong? And how do I fix it? Everybody want to be perfect.
So let me back real quick. Are we suggesting that the issues that we're having as fathers not being in home and women are the blame, or what do you what
Well, it's not the
No,
it's not the
no, no,
father
no,
being
no.
in the
My
home.
point is, my point is, look. This is my point. Is that I feel like the community was structured to throw that wrench into our shit, to where they structured it like that to make it more of an incentive for a woman to leave the man, right? So we're talking about psychology. So it's not necessarily either or's fault is as far as not understanding what is happening. You get what I'm saying? Like if we could understand what is happening, and it's like, yo, oh, okay, so they got us doing this when we shouldn't be doing that. You get what I'm saying? So I'm
I,
not putting blame on any party.
I,
I'm just
I
saying the whole
totally,
structure is wrong. Like,
I totally get it. But see, here's the thing, man. Once you identify what the problem is, there has to be other contingencies for it. So if we say that fathers are not in the home. So if we know men are not in the home with these women, right? What are we doing to help educate? What are we doing to help provide? What are we doing to help actually lead? And that's probably my biggest push, because we have men right here on social media who say, I don't see any
okay,
examples of these older men. You
oh,
understand what I'm
okay,
saying?
so and here's another problem I was having. I was on a panel and I'm talking about money, bro. I have another channel. It's called Urban Wall Street, right? I'm talking about
Uh-huh.
money. So I got to talking about money, and everybody's surprised and like, why are you talking about money? And I got to keep that on a hush, but I'm literally, the episode is about money. You know what I mean? So if I can take it there for a second and just say, um, that the what I'm saying is what maybe we should be telling our boys, that we shouldn't, like, that's a part of it too, that we shouldn't be taking that for granted, the fact that you get with woman, you have child, you definitely don't want to be in a position to where you're not in that family, and can't take that financial piece, because you do have benefits that's going to allow the man to put the family in a financial a good, better financial place, right? Now, what I'm saying is, it's a mostly dominated male field, is what I'm saying, just by nature, even on Wall Street. So my point is, I'm gonna go back to that, is that that young man has to be there to take advantage of that piece. You can't sleep with this woman, have a baby, end up on child support, go over here, now you struggling, you can't get to the bag. You know what I mean? So that union has to be taken a little bit more seriously, I think.
I get what you're saying. I get what you see. Here's the thing, and I like conversations like this, because what really happens is you really call it for what it is. I am not about to condemn any male or female for being a single parent. What I am going to say is, if we understand that that's the problem, then we need to provide some type of leverage. That means we need to provide information. We need to provide not only a safe haven, but a learning curve. We know that there are not a lot of men who know how to be men. So let's put some information out there to really just help, even if it's our community, hell, if it's our platform, channels, YouTube, whatever it is. What are we
Okay,
doing to change the
all
narrative?
right.
Talk
So
to me.
I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna give an example of what a better route would be for a young man going through these emotions, right? So I'm telling that young boy, right? And if I'm gonna sound radical, I don't know, but I'm just gonna pinpoint some things. When a young man has a child with a girl, they're of this, coming up or whatnot. When that man is working and can file taxes for that child, you're gonna get a benefit, right? That right there is a part of saying, okay, it would make more sense for you to look at the seriousness of what you're in, and really choose wisely at that point with what you're doing, and take advantage of it and propel this family unit. You know, because if that were done more often, you would have men getting together and say, hey, we're going to take this capital that we're getting in our household, and we're going to make it benefit the village. But that's radical, right? That's like way out there to where we're literally not even having that conversation, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, Mario, if you got a chance, I would like to say something, my brother.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. Speak.
All right. Hey, good morning again to everybody. I'm not necessarily going to piggyback off of what somebody else said. I'm just kind of going to give you my perspective on it. For me, it boils down to a couple of simple things. I think we need to stop telling our young men and our young boys what to do, and we need to show them. You know, like I say, we can tell folks. You know, I can tell my son all day how to do something, but if I show him and I involve him, then not only will he know, he'll understand. You know, because there's a million times, like all the mistakes we made, we always say, "Man, I knew better. I knew better." And you know, the natural question is, well, why didn't you do better? Because I didn't understand the ramifications of the second and third, fourth order effects. So, you know, I kind of look at this whole thing, the black community, the white community, whatever. I represent them, but I don't represent. I know that I only represent what I can control, and that's me. Now, I do realize that I am a black man, and so the way I conduct myself is representative of all black men. But I refuse to let the way that other black men conduct themselves be representative of me.
Amen.
You know what I mean? Like, I know I step out, I do what I got to do, but every day I think of two things. I have to be the type of man that I want my son to be, and the type of man that I want my daughters to marry. And the only way for me to do that is to love their mother honestly and fully and make all the corrections and adjustments that I have to keep my home intact, but stand on my principles. So, you know, but for me, it just comes by doing, you know. And when I was growing up, I was pretty much raised by a guy and his wife who, the guy was a retired Vietnam and Korean War veteran, old black man, Mr. Joe, he my grandpa. Anyway, during the summers when we weren't at school, Mr. Joe would take me and my brother to the domino shack. And in there would be nothing but a bunch of old black veterans sitting around playing dominoes, talking about what they're going to do, blah, blah, blah. And so from the time I was literally knee high to a grasshopper, I was given game and, you know, how to be a man and all of this stuff by old men. And so right then, early on, I made my choice that, you know what, I'm going to do 20 years in the military. I'm going to get that guaranteed 50%. I'm going to get that 100% VA, and then I'm going to chill. And that way, I ain't got to get out here and run this damn rat race. And so early on, I made a decision what I wanted to do, and I refused to let women or whatever come into it. You know what I mean? I'm on my third marriage, but I ain't got a single damn baby mama. So,
I know
you
that's
know, so it's just about, you know, staying committed to your path and understand how we as individuals influence the positive and negative outcomes. And saying, yeah, it's my fault. We can do that all day. But if we're not going to actually do anything to correct course, then what's the point of taking accountability? Because then you just blowing smoke up people's butts.
what's
So
your
that's
name
all I
again,
got to say,
sir?
man. Say it again.
What's your name again, sir?
Riding dirty.
Hey, what's up? Let me correct that because that did come out wrong. I'm not piggybacking off of anybody, but I was trying to bring it in a different aspect. I feel like a lot of times we have this thing of highlighting, the men not being in the home, and we use that all the time to, just put it in a way that as if the man just left or they broke up or whatever the case. And so now the mother's suffering, she's in poverty and those kind of things. But I feel like it's not being highlighted enough about the mothers as of myself who the daughter father is deceased. I do own a business. I do try to show people that it is possible. I'm not her father, but I'm her only example for as parent. And so I feel like a lot of times we putting out that poverty thing or men stepping out and leaving thing, and we're not bringing to the forefront that there are parents that are dealing, but on different circumstances because everybody's baby father didn't leave or wasn't a fly by night, or like I said, she's 16, he's deceased, he was a vet or whatever the case, so it's not even financial, but just to have to raise that kid alone and not because he left willingly. I feel like it's not enough examples out there, or people are not putting it to the forefront and letting those know that it is possible. You can, do this. I just wanted to share that. That's just.
honestly, I feel like it basically comes down to, individual choices, and, without getting too, I guess deep, I like to just stay on the surface level and just, look at it like, okay, I'm coming from a financial point of view. That's how I see things, and that's
Right.
what I have to bring to the table. So
Mhm.
basically, you have choices in front of you.
Oh yeah.
Now, you just got to make the right choices. And I'm saying some choices are not good, is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
it's kind of like we have to get to the right people, I guess, the right message. And as long as there's people out there providing that information, you know, everybody's going to make their choice. But the
Right.
option's there for people to make the right choice. So that's why I'll say something like that. Yo, like, if you ain't got no kids, then be careful, because this is what you could do, and this is what you have in front of you. You could either be in this position or that position. I'd
Right.
rather be in the position that I am right now, you know what I mean,
Mhm.
than the other one. I'm saying that I've
Listen, I
seen
gotta
some of
agree
my
because I
brothers
never
go through,
experienced it, but
I'm just
even
saying,
though,
I've seen a few of my brothers go through some pretty fucked up positions, and they had a choice not to, man.
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And it's like, yo, my nigga, like, like,
yeah. The
I,
choice is
I'll tell
out,
you, I'll tell you a story about, if I can't get too personal, about, like, some family members of mine. I've seen, like, I have sisters, so I've seen other men come into their lives and
Mhm.
drop the bag, is what I'm saying.
I've seen it too. I have an
You
older
know what I
sister,
mean?
so yeah.
Plain and simple. He dropped the fucking bag. I can't put it no simpler than that. You know what I mean? You know,
And
Hey,
and you was
let,
like, not me. Oh no, I gotta
let
be
me let me
careful.
let me
not
chime
me, my
in on that.
nigga, and not me, my nigga, not me, not me, my nigga.
Let me chime
I'm
in on
dropping the bag.
this comment right quick. I'm really starting to dislike the it takes a village to raise your kid thing, and I'm gonna tell you why. It's like I've seen so many people
Mm.
that lack concern for not only themselves, their family, but for the community. So it's like, do you really want this village? This community of people helping you raise your child. You know what I'm saying? I see a lot of people who don't take time to heal out of relationships, don't worry about themselves mentally, emotionally, financially, spiritually. And it's like, do you want them to be around your child? You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it takes your home to be the village. I think it takes the people that you
Hmm.
trust within your domain to be the village. So whether that's the mother, the father, them together, or them co-parenting, it takes you guys to be the village. And then the people that you feel that are connected to that particular home, I think that's the village. I think we rely on other people to raise our children. We rely on the grandparents. We rely on the auntie. We rely on the uncle, the cousin. Hell, we rely on the older kids to take care of the younger kids. So it's just like we the responsibility of parenting, to me, is literally just giving them a PlayStation 5, some new Jordans, and a couple dollars. Like, okay, I've done everything that I could do. Go with God. You know, that village thing, to me, I just seen a lot of toxic people, and I wouldn't want them anywhere near my kids. So when you start talking about a village, like, I feel some type of way about that.
Hey, tough love.
Go ahead and
Tough
speak.
love.
Go ahead and speak,
Hey,
Ryan.
when you was talking about the village and how, that the village is probably more who you pull into your personal village. You know what I'm saying? And so just a little story to guess, I kind of concur with what you're saying. This morning, the weather is nice. And I usually take my son to the bus stop and stay there and wait for the bus. And the bus stop is right in front of my partner's house, down the corner around the street, down the street around the corner. Anyway, this morning, the weather is nice. So I let him ride his bike. He gets there, my partner, hey, DJ made it to the bus stop, blah, blah, blah. Then he calls back, says, appreciate you, brother. But anyway, he calls me back and said, hey, man, your son's feeling sick. Talk to my son. He talking about his belly hurting and all of this because he has a test today he don't want to take. And so my partner coached him up, talked to him, blah, blah, blah. He said, man, I sent him on the way to school with a smile on his face. You know what I mean? So it's like, hey, appreciate it. That's the village that you need to, what I'm saying? That's the village that I think Mario or Tough Love is referring to. Who we have in our inner circle that we know we can trust. And with that particular partner, I've known him for about a year. We stood on my front porch and talked for about 3 months before he ever stepped foot in my house.
That's what's up. That's what
You know what I'm saying?
I
And
totally agree
whenever,
with what you're saying.
and whenever he finally came into my house, he said, "Hey man, I noticed that it's been 3 months and you finally let me in your house." And he said, "That's why I fucks with you."
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, I really feel like a lot of people be like, well, all my friends need to be my child's friends. You understand what I'm saying? Like my friend that's struggling with their sex. You know what I'm saying? Like what sex they
Mhm.
want to be. So they're in the middle of a transition, whether they want to go from male to female, female to male. Like you pull them around your kids. You pull people that just got out of jail around your kids. Like all your friends that you handle in your adult life that really can't get it together, you bring those people around your kids. So damn the village, you know what I'm saying? Damn bringing these people who don't have a handle on their own life, chaotic shit, bring them around your kids, and now your kid is like, well, well, shit, this is an influence to me now. Now I want to do what they doing or whatever the case may be. I think that you should be mindful
Very-
when you introduce your children to people that are not consistent with how you want your children to be raised.
A lot of the times we're dealing with people under circumstances that don't make sense. You know what I mean? Um, and that's what I was talking the other day on the panel about investment groups. In other communities, they have investment groups are popular. You know, so you have a community of people who are pooling together, and you have real estate investment groups, the stock market, and you have these kind of communities popping up in other races. And I think that's under those circumstances would be more productive, things for the community. I know of a lady that's in Texas. She uh she has an investment group, and they actually have a charity account as well, that they literally invest and do work their talent, and they do it for themselves and a charity on the side. You know what I mean? So things like that are going on in other communities, and we really don't promote that or do that much.
Well, I gotta say, it is important, who you have and who your child looking up to as a role after they leave you. Of course, whoever else adult they're around, that's what they're taking on for the day. And so I can say that I thank God for my village, because we I always try to keep her in programs. It's a young lady here with a non-profit, and she deal with teens and younger kids. She teaches them things like how to write a resume, how to do a job interview. um I go in sometime and I teach them entrepreneurship. And so I'm saying that to say that, and those are people that you want your kids to see, that you can get your own, you can have your own business and things like that. But a lot of parents, they rather their kids stand on the corner or play the video game so they could get dressed and go to the club instead of paying for this program that's going to help their child.
Refuse. Can y'all hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
I think a lot of it is we've lost our ability to problem solve as a people.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean just black people. I mean just kind of, especially Western culture. Because if you think about it, what's the best way to make money in this country? Make something convenient for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And so as we become more and more convenient and things get easier, and people make tons of money on YouTube posting hack videos, when the
Mm-hmm.
hacks don't work, we fall to pieces because we don't understand the way things operate and we don't know how to solve our own problems.
See.
And I think that goes everything from mechanical man-made things to our own emotions, raising
Mm-hmm.
children and everything. And being a person from Generation X, I think, me personally, I think Generation X is the generation that could reshape this planet.
Right.
Um, because we've seen the old school ways and what was good and bad with the old school ways, and we are still living in this current era, and we see what's good and bad about it.
Mm-hmm.
And like people say about those investment groups,
Mm-hmm.
consolidating the efforts and the resources toward the right direction
Right.
and just realize that we have to do it ourselves for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I can't refuse to lose to solve my problems because she might give me the solution that she used.
Right. And it might
You know,
not work
and
for you.
right. I mean, the solution will work, but I'm using the same factors, you know what I
Mm,
mean, instead of tailoring it to my lifestyle. So
right.
I think one of the main things we can do is teach our children how to solve their problems,
Mm,
mental problems, physical problems, whatever it is. Because
Well,
if, if I lean on somebody to solve my problems and it don't work, now I'm mad at that
right.
I look at it like this. It's more of looking out and seeing what's happening. There's a world economy, right? You got to go out and seek the information and then bring it back to your tribe. Now, what these other people are doing are getting in communities where they're learning things. If I want to learn how to flip real estate, right? I gotta go get the information and learn it, right? Um, and any other field. So what I'm saying is that other communities aren't afraid to go out and learn things, get in a program and learn about some shit. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So that's that's why I even tell people about investment groups, because a lot of people haven't even ever heard of it, or heard of them, where you can actually learn the skills and be able to bring it back to your home and build generational wealth, because you're actually looking to see what the world is doing versus,
do you think they scared or they don't want to?
they're absolutely scared.
Okay.
It's okay. Look, there's a lot of shit going on. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I've learned a lot just by having conversations with people, right?
Right.
So what I'm saying is you can start your own investment group and have
Mhm.
people come around, right? And you learn and do whatever you want to do. It's like a genie in a bottle. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So
I got.
I'm taking it to another level. Look, it's just that plain and simple. You can do it yourself, like, and build a Goldman Sachs.
Mhm.
Nothing's stopping you.
Right. So
Literally, nothing's stopping you. The only thing stopping us is the actual fear of having these uncomfortable conversations and say, you know what, I'm going to step out here and I'm going to actually put this company up and say, who wants to join? Let's do this. You
well,
know.
I actually do have a company. Unfortunately, with COVID, I did have to lay off my one employee, but I
So
am working.
so you know what it's like to
Absolutely.
step out there, and so I'm not speaking nothing foreign, and I mean, like, I'm just saying that, yeah,
No, I
you know,
understand. No, yeah, it's possible, and like I said, a lot of times people think because it's only you, things can't be done. That's not so. You have to believe with your own self. You can't. Everything that people is feeding your mind isn't meant for you to receive it if it's not your situation. Sometimes we feed our mind these things and we make it our situation.
I think you guys are hitting on some things that I think are very important. Not only entrepreneurship, but financial literacy as well. So that's what I'm talking about in regards to, that village conversation. You have to put people around that are going to be an asset to whatever it is that you feel that you hold near and dear to your heart. And if your children you feel that you hold near and dear to your heart, you have to put people around that are going to act accordingly and play their position. So just like Rod Dirty was saying, hey, this gentleman that I've talked to and I've kind of set the tone for who I am as a man, who I am as a father, they reciprocated that. Hey, young man, this is what you should do, or, let me empower you or strengthen you, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what I'm saying in reference to when we talk about no more. Like I'm bringing this full circle now to the beginning of the show. The mayor was talking about no more. We don't want these mass shootings anymore in New York. No more. You know what I'm saying? To me, it's like if we realize that there's a problem, we can stop being reactive and be more proactive. So if we say, hey, there are no fathers in the homes and these women are single parents, etc., we can be examples. So when someone comes to your social media platform, whatever it may be, are you an example of what you are you an example of a solution? Like when you talk about, like the neighborhood show says, well, I know that a lot of people don't know about financial literacy. Do you have things on your channel that outlines financial literacy? Refuse to Lose talks about being an entrepreneur. Do you have things on your channel that outlines entrepreneurship? Riding Dirty's talking about manhood and fatherhood. Do you have things on your channel that outline that? To me, we are the best example of the solution versus just words. It's the actions. Your content is your character, but your content is also can also be the solution to the problem that you know that exists. Y'all talk to me.
Exactly.
Y'all talk to me.
Facts. So basically, what I'm doing with the channel, with my channel, is I'm using the neighborhood show just to bring an audience, right? And then I'll tell my audience, yo, we got another channel, and you can come learn, and we have a study group. So basically, a study group, right? And the study group is called Urban Wall Street, right? So on that channel, um, it would be basically you would see me putting on positions in the market, showing how to invest your money. At some point, I do want to show an investment group on that channel, and that I fund, and we just sit around money and put it in position. And actually, so that's there, right? And so that's basically what I'm saying is like I'm actually starting my own investment group. You get me, under the pretenses that I'm understanding how they run or whatnot, or how what's the steps of getting it done, right? And so maybe I'm thinking, maybe if I have documented videos showing the steps of getting the people together, actually seeding the account and whatnot, and just making that determination on what we're going to buy and what we're going to sell, the audience gets to actually see that and understand that as well. But
So,
that's what I mean about getting together and learning. So that's what I'm just saying about getting together and learning. So me personally, I'm fully confident in what I can do, right, as far as like my niche and my little what I have to offer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think, and I came to the conclusion last night, people are scared of that, bro, because it was a couple people who were like, I was on the panel, and a couple people were like, okay, yeah, that sounds good, whatnot. But then that puts you in a position to where, okay, now you got to do the work, you know.
That's
Yeah,
the part.
yeah.
You get me?
Toro, welcome to the
And
panel.
What's up?
yeah, but
What's up, Tough? Salute to the panel.
What's
Hello.
going on, man? Salute, salute. What you think about this topic, man?
Well, I have two things to address. Urban politician. I don't think it's much of that they're scared. It's that people are conditioned. People live in a mental box, so it's not really about them being scared. It's just that they never have that exposure. It's just like when you receive new information, you shut it down because you don't know
right,
about it. So it's not really about being
okay,
scared. It's just about you're conditioned to a certain way. Everyone has a certain level of conditioning, the environmental conditioning. So you're not going to react to certain things with other people. So it's more mechanical than I think personal. That's what I'm trying to say.
okay, I feel you. So I'm looking at it a little bit too simple. Yeah, okay, I get you.
Yeah,
That
I
was,
mean,
yeah,
I'm
that
I'm
was.
a I try to like implement a lot of like I'm a fan of science. So just like if you look at like I don't know genetics and environmental conditioning, it's more convoluted than you think. It's just like, oh, they're just afraid, but it's more like more deeply rooted.
yes, it is.
Right.
So let
Tell
me
us all the
pose this
time
question.
about environmental conditioning. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Ron Dirty. Go ahead.
I was going to say, the man was speaking on environmental conditioning, and the government proves this to us every time they mention a laboratory experiment using rats or whatever. And that, there's countless cases of, them using rats to explain what happens when dopamine levels rise and change, and how that influences how motivated we are to go after the things we want. And they use those studies to conduct their social engineering. And so I see what the gentleman's saying, and I was just throwing in a caveat to a tangent on that. So you good.
Yeah, yeah, I see what you're trying to say.
Again, a lot of times I feel like, it depends, I guess, who you are and, what's your mental strength as a person. I do believe a lot of times people, they let these narratives into their mind and they do live like that. Or if
I
I got a
mean,
whole
the
bunch
human
of
mind.
friends,
Oh,
I'm sorry, if I have a whole bunch of friends and nobody's doing nothing, nobody's on nothing, nobody's going to work in the morning, some people maybe not, won't, some people probably do the same thing. It's like, what the hell?
So yeah, my
I mean,
that other channel
oh,
that I have is actually deals with just being uh financially aware
I
and
think I follow
and
that other channel. I'm gonna
yeah,
check
it's
it
pretty good.
out.
Well, no, I just this one I had up for a minute, and I was giving that like some just some tips and stuff about being kind of like financially aware. Just be
Hmm.
conscious of your finances and just little tips here and there. But I kind of wanted to separate it from this channel because
Right.
you got so basically um I encourage to at least because it encourages you to save money. It's more of a savings plan than anything. See, in investing, a lot of people don't understand. I like to give as much as information as I can.
Hmm.
It's more of a savings plan, if anything, because you do invest, but you're only going to invest a certain portion of the capital that you're actually saving. So
Right.
that has to be, that's key right there. So with that aspect, I know I'm not, giving out bad information, because it's
Right.
helped me like in
I
that way, like
definitely
right.
need.
So,
I definitely need to learn to share a little, to save a little bit more.
well, that's what helped me. I'm just explaining people what helped me. It
Yeah.
helped me to save money. You get
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
I'm not in it to lose money. So I
Right.
got to be able to feed my account, but make sure that
Not
you know
draining it out.
yeah, exactly. So I invest under my savings. You
Hmm.
get me?
Yeah.
You get me? So that investment, that little small investment helps and it keeps me, right where I need to be. So that savings is still growing, you
Hmm.
know.
All right. I'm gonna check it out.
Hey, y'all
Definitely.
hear what he just said about finances, about small investments and how those small investments pay into the long term, and kind of like
Yes.
the small investments, and then he has his main savings. You can apply that same thought process to self care and self help.
Hmm.
Fact.
Those little
I like
things, like
that.
those little extra change you got, like, you know what? I'm gonna throw this in my other account. Well, consider one of those accounts your mental landscape, your peace of mind. And so
Hmm.
if you got extra time in the day, do something that will rejuvenate you or you know what I'm saying, promote you to be productive. You know what I'm saying? So when I say do something, don't go off and, jack around, but actually do something that will offer peace of mind. Don't procrastinate that one thing that you've been procrastinating over something that's going to
Hmm.
make you happy so and then that long-term savings, that's that vacation that you've been saving up for, that family reunion, those things where you go out and you splurge and you dip into your savings for that.
Right.
Or however you got your investment portfolio set up. But it's a matter of making those small investments every day to your mental peace
Ain't
until
nothing like it.
you can get to the savings. You know what I mean? Until you have to rely on your savings.
I like the
Or until you
analogy.
get
That was good. That was good. Let's not run from that though. Let's talk about this rejuvenation. What do you guys do on a consistent basis to rejuvenate yourselves
Well, for me, I
mentally.
mentally? Yes, mentally.
For me, I go out. Like I said, I try to go out and speak to other people or younger people that's been in my past situations as a young mother and a young wife. And I feel like the more that I speak to other people, it's also a form of me, dealing with certain things within my own self. Because a lot of times, you go through things or you've been through things, but you never really released it. You talk to God, you do all that. But to be able to help somebody else before they even get to that place where you was, it's a release for me.
speak
Well,
on.
for me, Well, for me, it's more reflection and understanding your emotional output. I think a lot of people lack emotional intelligence, and they lack the reason why they feel the way they feel. So I think people should focus on reflection and actually understanding why they have these emotional outbursts. If you understand your emotion, the power of the emotion that happens will diminish. If you understand it, it loses its grip on you. So
Oh
people
yeah.
should focus on understanding their emotion.
I don't know. For me, I guess I'm a goal-based person. I have to be working on achieving something, whether it's something personal, So I guess that's where I get my my um my moments where I'm just meditating and reflecting, trying to make things better in different ways. So yeah,
Right.
I don't know. I guess that's how I kind of unwind. I'm
Sometimes
like,
even if I'm not going out and about, sometimes I'll just turn on my computer and I'll just design something. It's not even to put on something. Things just will come to me. It's like when I'm thinking of certain things, though that's one of the things that I use. And that's the design. Like
Refusal.
hmm
Did you just hijack that man in the middle of his
No.
You did.
He
Yes,
was
I'm gonna
finished.
kick you off here, y'all. I'm gonna kick her off, y'all. Don't worry about it. I got
Nah,
her. I'm gonna get
I
out of here.
thought he was finished. Go ahead.
Nah,
My
nah,
bad.
you just hijacked him in the middle of his thing.
Nah, he was
Yeah,
good. He said
had a whole
yeah, I
thing
was
written
good.
down.
No,
You Googled the whole response.
you was finished or no?
No.
Yeah, he was.
yeah,
So
I was pretty
I
much
knew he
done.
was.
I like to
Oh
reflect.
man.
I like to reflect a lot. I don't know. I like to be a deep thinker about life. And
hmm
I just like I feel like that's my unwinding is just meditating and thinking about things that I enjoy. You know what I mean? I
Right.
think that's a good thing to do. I guess. Yeah.
I guess don't think too deep, or you're gonna have like multiple existential crises, bro.
That's the
Okay,
part.
refuse to lose. You can go now.
All
I'm
God.
surface
finished.
stuff.
I'm
Just surface stuff. Just like shit that I want to do. You know what? I ain't been on a roller coaster in a while. Let's.
I
No,
can't.
no doubt. Refuse to lose. You have anything for us?
No, I'm finished. I'm
You
good.
sure? Are you sure? Because it's
I'm
all about you.
positive. Y'all go ahead. Knock
Okay,
yourselves
okay. So
out.
I guess I give my little 2 cents. Everybody went, right? I think everybody went. So what I do, to be honest with you guys, and this might sound a little bit probably minuscule to most of you guys, but I try to remain optimistic. Like I try to look at people and hunt for the good stuff. I know Rod and Dirty understand what I'm talking about. Like I really try to be patient and kind of see people for really who they are in regards to saying, you know, uh, is this a person that can be an asset to my life? What can I learn from them? So I try to remain optimistic and I try to learn something new, every day about somebody new. So I go out my way to, like, whether it's a grocery store, whether it's at the gym, whatever, I just try to talk to people and really be like, okay, well, what can I learn from this person? I'm not dismissive to people. You know what I'm saying? And I had an issue kind of growing up, kind of like, just being dismissive, like, you don't matter. Keep going. Like, I don't want to hear what you got to say. And I think that was just something I did as a defense mechanism. But nowadays, I'm kind of like I'm learning not only more about myself, but more about the people around me. So I think that's very important. Sis, what's up? I see you in the chat. So I got another question for you guys. Unless one of you guys have something you want to say.
I mean, I didn't say anything much about how I rejuvenate myself.
My bad, Ron Dirty. Go ahead. Do your thing.
No, you're good, brother. You're good. Then,
No, go ahead.
for me, I have my strategies, and a lot of it is just set according to schedule. Being a professional family man, since I'm a stay-at-home dad, it's all about the schedule, and I schedule in my time to, you know, self-help or whatever. Say, for instance, at 12 o'clock, after my daughter, my 2-year-old, has had her lunch and her cleanup, and she is napping, I'm finna have my midday blunt. You better believe it. That's my reward to myself for taking to the business during the day. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna have my mid-afternoon blunt, and then I'm gonna go get my lunch and do, you know what I'm saying? And then I'm back on the clock. And then once the kids get off the bus and all of that, you know what I'm saying? It's just other little things that I do to,
Mm-hmm.
keep myself in the fight. You know what I'm saying? To keep myself going. And then, so I have these things pre-planned, pre-programmed, no matter where I'm at, if I'm at home, if I'm out on the road or whatever, because a lot of it is just a test of my patience
Mm-hmm.
and how I deal with those things I consider inconveniences. And so that's what I do is just put in them. Hey, you remember them risk assessments every 2 hours, pull over, take a break?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mario,
yeah.
that's what it is. I put them throughout my day. Hey, you got to take a break.
No
So
doubt, no doubt.
that's what I got to
Let's
do.
hey, Ryan Dirty really promoting these next questions, y'all. Let me ask you guys. What do you do to take a break? Like what do you do during the course of your day where you actually take a break and don't do nothing, or do you have the time to take a break?
Well, for me, I call taking the brush. I go outside and sit in the park or take a walk or, basically walk around or just exercise, I guess you would call it.
Okay, so you exercise.
Yes.
So that's your taking a break.
That's
Okay,
my downtime for myself. Yeah.
okay. So what
I
what
actually, that's a funny thing that you say, take a break. And for me, and how I see things is just basically how I position myself and how I feel
Mm-hmm.
personally. Like when I go to work, my job is actually my break because the way I'm looking at things, my job is to accumulate assets. When I
Right.
wake up in the morning, I go into work at 1 in the afternoon. And I won't go in any earlier than that because my job understands that I have another job, and that job is to be there when the market opens, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my job is to accumulate as many assets as I can for my family and try to, hand that over to my sons. And that's just my bias. My sisters tell me that I shouldn't always talk about my sons like that, but you know, I'm trying to build them up and have them take over whatever I can accumulate, or at least at some point we'll be trying to accumulate them together. But so when I go to work, that's my break. That's really my break.
Right.
You know what I
I know
mean?
that's right.
So it's like, and that's what I learned from working in corporate is that, you know what, I'm going to use you motherfuckers instead of having you guys use me. So, and that's what I have to bring to the table as far as that mindset, right? To bring to the community and saying, you know what, there's another side that deep thinkers and got guys who are doing big stuff even before they go to work, structuring, their assets for their families,
Mm-hmm.
lineage. I'm talking about stuff that's gonna pass through generations. So
I
okay,
definitely,
okay.
I definitely understand because I work from home, and so that's why going outside is my brain.
What about you other guys? What do you guys do to take a break throughout the day?
Um, I guess just relax. I guess. I mean, I just take a moment and meditate for a while, and I guess nothing crazy. So
Okay, okay. Ron Dirty, did you say how you take a break doing it? Oh well, you said your blunt is your break.
Well, that's one of many, 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 many breaks. But like I say, just knowing what I know about behavioral health and behavioral science, behavioral science, I could talk all day about this and just get so nuanced. So I'll just say what I said and leave it at that.
No doubt, no doubt. I think to be honest with you guys, man, I just sit my ass down somewhere. Like you know what I'm saying? I just be still and I
yeah,
try not to really focus on anything. You know what I'm saying? I just try to, sometimes I'll be going 100 miles an hour and I just kind of just be still. I think that to me is very important that you kind of just breathe. You know what I'm saying? I heard somebody say meditate. I think somebody in the chat said meditate as well. I just sit
Mhm.
down and just breathe. You know what I'm saying? Jay Watson Entertainment says relax and listen to music. Relax and listen to music. That's also a good way to do it. I just sit down and just kind of just breathe. Hopefully You know, if I could sit down outside, that's even better because it's just like that air. You know what I'm saying? If the wind's
Yeah.
blowing, you know, it's just relaxing to me. So yeah, I appreciate you guys for sharing that. I'm about to roll up out of here, but I got one more question for you guys, and hopefully this is not too far left for you guys. Um, what is being the example mean to you in your own words? Lovely, salute. What does being an example mean to you?
Do- for me, being an example is, to, for one, be okay with accepting accountability, because a lot of times people around us don't accept accountability because we don't accept accountability. And the other thing, for example, I'm going to speak family wise, is that I always wanted my children to realize that, they can do things for themselves, and know that they can have their own and not have to depend or rely on anybody. That's family wise. So,
I think part of being a good example is just being
hmm
consistent and what you're trying to do, and what and being conscious of the fact who you are, that too,
absolutely.
For me, it's being able to let my reputation speak for itself.
I like
Nice.
that too.
You know, that's me. I sometimes I ask people, if you die today, what are the papers going to write about you tomorrow, or what is your obituary going to say? You
Tell
know,
it,
know.
tell it, speak.
if people come to your funeral, if all your friends who don't know each other come to your funeral, do you have to worry about fight and beef at your funeral?
hmm
So that's what being an example means to me. Like I say, my word is my bond, my balls and my word. I don't break them, and because I think I'm pretty trustworthy and good at keeping my word and picking who I associate with. I don't have to flex my balls.
Right.
So that's all I got to say, bro.
That's a big part on who you align yourself with too, right? So you could take that and say, okay, you would want to align yourself um, with people that show those attributes, or those are the attributes you would see, you would want to look at it in people to align yourself with a certain community or whatnot.
hmm
And you
Hence,
want to know
hence,
what my
hence
number
why I
one?
was, saying, when I was telling you guys about investment groups earlier, it's just that vibe that breeds success. You know what I mean? You got that vibration going on.
But you know what the discriminator is to let me know that if they are a person of the same character is whenever I force a boundary, and if they respect it, then I know I can keep rocking with them. And if they
Right.
don't, I know they got to go. And so,
Absolutely.
and that's the way all of my relationships go. If you respect my boundaries, then we
Facts.
do. If you force
Because we
And
all
don't
been
and
around them
do you
people.
find
Because we
that
all been
sometimes,
around them people.
but like it's so cold, because
but
one thing the military has taught me is that one day you're here, the next day you're gone.
mhm,
Isley, Ronald Isley sang a great hook on UGK's "One Day You're Here, the Next Day You're Gone." So you know, if you cross my boundaries, I will cut you off like that, and it's like the universe never created you.
what's your sign?
I'm a Virgo.
I'm a Libra, but I'm the same way. And
Well,
people get offended, but it's not. Don't get offended.
I'm, a,
It's
I'm a late Virgo. I'm a 26th of August, so I'm a late
okay.
Virgo. I if because it's me, and at the end of the day, I got a family that I got to
Right.
stay me for, and I'm not finna lose my mind tripping over some bullshit ass relationship with somebody that I knew 20 years ago that whose
They ain't
opinion.
changed or did nothing different,
My
and
bad, I done got off on a tangent. My bad, homie. My bad.
Yeah. Jatora, what you think, man?
An example is just, I guess, being the optimal person you can be. But I also say that everyone should try to lead themselves. Everyone has their own path. At the end of the day, I mean, you can do so much, to be honest, as a person, individual. Everyone's flawed animals. So it's just like, to hold someone to this highest stature, I think, is just not feasible. Everyone should just uh, find their own path and find their own in their being, and they manifest themselves. So
I hear you. I hear you. I'm gonna give my example in my monologue heading out. So if you guys have channels that you want to promote or anything that you have going on, feel free to do it at this time. The floor is yours. You can go in any order that you want to.
I got a channel coming up soon. It's called Missing Cranium. I gotta do some things, but I'm working on it right now. So
Okay. Okay. Hey man, I appreciate you hitting the panel, brother. You have a great day. I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
all right, tough love. Salute to the panel.
Salute, salute, salute.
All right, tough love. This is a neighborhood show. You know, come check me out, hang out with me. I'm gonna go ahead and hop off the panel. I got my son in my hands, so.
Do your thing, man. Do your thing. I appreciate
All
you.
right.
Ron Dirty, you up next.
All right. Hey, I don't have a page or a channel or nothing like that to promote. I'm just a dude out here trying to keep somebody from running in a fucking subway and shooting up people.
I hear you,
So,
bro. I hear
man,
you.
you're adult up and don't talk about it. Be about it.
No doubt. No doubt. I appreciate you, man. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Likewise.
All right. Have a good day. That means it's my go. That means it's my go. Let me see if I can switch this thing around here. I was trying to switch the font over here. Okay, there we go. There we go. All right, so real quick, man, ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate your time. I realize that you can be anywhere, but you are here listening to the Tough Love Conversation. It is always a pleasure. Salute to the chat, salute to the donations. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. It really does go towards hell, it's going towards gas money now, right? But I really appreciate your time, and I really appreciate you guys being assets to this channel and to the conversation. It's very welcome and it's very appreciated. So I asked a question to the panel in regards to, you know, what is being an example? What does that mean to you? And what it means to me, first of all, you have to care. You have to give a damn. Refuse to lose, salute to you. You have to give a damn. You know what I mean? You have to give a damn. When you give a damn, to me, that is the catalyst of everything. You know, I care about me enough. I care about my family enough. I care about my coworkers. I care about this world. I care about, you know, how we maneuver, how we see one another, how we speak to one another. I care, you know, and there's so many people that you see that don't care. You know, so when we talk about like this village aspect of helping to raise our children, you got to realize that a lot of people ain't trying to be an example of shit. Not an example of a parent, not an example of a friend, not an example of a coworker, and damn sure not an example of anybody in your neighborhood that's going to look out for your children, your family, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So your example needs to be promoted with consistency. Your example needs to be promoted with reason, stability. Your example needs to be promoted in a timely fashion that rises to any occasion. So, you know, if you are a man, to be an example of that man is to me to promote a level of consistency in that manhood. To be a woman means to be consistent in that womanhood. And those that see you understand that that's an example. It's not something you saying. It's not just a title. You know what I'm saying? It's an action. You know, it's a motivation. It's you walking into a room and exuding that level of confidence, not cockiness, confidence. You know, there's a lot of people who talk with this arrogance, but really have no substance. And I think that being an example, it really outlines that is somebody that's worth emulating. That is somebody that's worth taking something from, that's going to be an asset to my life. And when I say take something from, take inspiration, take that how strong they are mentally, how they carry themselves, how they speak to others. how they leave a trail of substance. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Mario J. This is Tough Love. Until next time, adult up. Peace.